Hey everybody, welcome to Glory Hunters. I bought my Glory Hunter best friends to teach me the game of football. Welcome Green Man, and of course, Glory Hunter Nick. Hey guys, crazy weekends, a lot to talk about, from the Prem to the Bundesliga. What's your biggest story of the weekend, Green Man, so far? Just rapid fire. Harry Kane.
Harry Kane's on death watch.
And what's a top story for you, Nick?
Rangers bottling the title and winning everything.
It's a big story. Well, I think we have bigger stories than both of them. Of course, Levrerkusen is now the championship, stopping Bayern Munich's 12-year reign over the Bundesliga. A team who has not won a championship of any kind in 120 years. You can see it on the screen right here. Florian Wirtz scores a hat trick after being brought out in the half. I mean, it's just amazing to me that Zabi can just bench these guys in half and say, okay, let's turn it on, and then just walk. And the ref just blew the whistle. I was actually a little concerned about them maybe like docking them points. I also seen some scenes that were, I don't know, kind of remind me of Hillsborough a little bit, where fans were actually getting in without a ticket. That all being said and aside, Green Man, what do you think of this particular accomplishment? This is really exciting for me to watch. It's nice to see somebody besides old Bayern get a championship.
I think the most remarkable thing is we've still not seen them achieve what they can achieve this season. But obviously, look at what they've already done. So far they're unbeaten. They've stopped the never endless grind machine that's Bayern Munich, and they're still yet to maybe win the Europa League and the German Cup. I think saying all that, man, it's crazy, isn't it? Nobody would have seen it coming. Let's be honest. Nobody's seen this coming. Nobody, unless there's somebody who's got like a bookies card at the start of the season where they showed me they'd put this bet on. Fair play to you, mate, but I don't think that guy exists.
Do you think that the talent was a bit underrated going into the season? Because, a lot of these guys are starting to look like superstars. Obviously guys like Ritz, you got Ta back there. Bigger clubs are talking about getting them. Maybe is this just Zabi alone finding guys that were already? Because I always wonder if guys kind of slip through the cracks that we could have had some kind of superstar, but maybe just because of bad luck, they got the wrong coach, the wrong style, something like that. Is this talent? Was this kind of maybe a failure of the football media not to recognize the talent that was on this team?
No, I think if you look at the talent that's on this team, there's a mix between a lot of young talent and a lot of established players that have played at the top level. So if you look at Alexander Grumelo at left back, okay, it's his first big season, maybe a top 5 league, but he's been playing for Benfica, and everybody knows what Alex Grumelo offers, right? He's played for the Portuguese national team before that. Then you're looking at a lot of people like Granit Xhaka, who have already played in the Bundesliga before with Borussia Mönchengladbach. They've won trophies with Arsenal, played in the Champions League with Arsenal. He was Arsene Wenger's last signing, Granit Xhaka. So he's a good midfielder. And then you look at all the young talent, and they've got Florian Wirtz as well, Jeremy Ping Pong, ex-Celtic player at left back. I think there's a good combination of good players that are good enough and done it at the top level, and young players you've not seen that much of, who maybe that's where Bayern have been caught by surprise, maybe, and I think everybody's been caught by surprise by this Bunchal big team.
I just wonder if it's a failure of the media, though, or in some aspects, not to identify the talent. Where are you with this, Nick? Did the sports media drop the ball in not seeing the talent that was there, or is this just a miracle that nobody saw coming?
I don't know necessarily about a miracle, but I don't think the media really dropped the ball. Like Green Man said, the likes of Florian Wirtz and Frimpong were already known talents that people knew about going into the season. They took the leap that they needed to become superstars, really, the way they've played this season. And so they weren't really off the radar. Tar has always been respected, but this is by far his best season.
Absolutely.
So I think Xabi Alonso is the biggest catalyst for this all, though. I think he's the one that no one saw coming, and he's unlocked the full potential of these players. So I think it would be unfair to expect the media to have seen any of this. Because a lot of these players were respected before anyway. They've just taken that extra leap under Xabi Alonso to become truly as good as they can be.
Now, you said something interesting. We had a watch along inside the Discord. Join the Discord. We do a lot of stuff, hang out. You're more than welcome to hang out. You can mute your microphone and watch a game if you want. So join our Discord. Link is in the description box below. You said something interesting, that if for some reason Germany wins the Euros, and Ritz is a big part of that, and on top of that, they end up pulling off this sort of a mini treble, for lack of it. It's not the treble, it's a treble, but a pretty big one nonetheless. It's still a huge accomplishment. Are we talking Ballon d'Or for Ritz after that?
I think potentially. I think obviously there's a lot of factors to consider. Like Jude Bellingham is the favourite at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
His form has dropped off a bit though, to be fair. Bellingham's not scoring like he was at the start of the season. And if Real Madrid if Real Madrid go out now to Manchester City, that won't be a Champions League. He'll only have La Liga and a good season behind him. Whereas Florian Wirtz, if they go invincible, they win the treble invincible, and he wins the Euros. I think that is enough considering the competition. I think he could win it.
What about you, Green Man? Where are you
I
at?
disagree.
You disagree?
I've got a different Englishman down as the favourite. I think Harry Kane, man.
Are you busting balls? If Harry Kane wins it, you want to talk about being on death watch. If assuming that Haaland cares, he's going to be on death watch if they give it to Kane.
Wait, Harry Kane has scored the most goals in the Bundesliga, the most goals in Europe. Okay, and he potentially could go into this Euros tournament and be the top goal scorer as well. I don't think that's out of order. You're talking about Florian Wirtz being the guy to drive Germany. What if big Harry Kane says, "Look, I've joined Bayern Munich. I've still smashed it. I've joined the shittiest Bayern Munich team that's existed in 12 years, and I'm still that guy, right?" And he goes into the Euros and he proves like the Ballon d'Or isn't about the best team; it's about the best individual player.
Yeah.
And I think Harry Kane has proved once again, he's always underrated because he plays for teams that don't succeed. Harry Kane is an individual player. I don't see anyone else on the planet that gives you more.
Now, I'm still learning here, guys. I'm still learning. Has Kane won a Ballon d'Or before? I mean, it seems like no, he hasn't. No. And it's because
he's basically been Messi, Ronaldo, plus Luka Modric.
Yeah. So there's a lot of. I mean, there's been a lot of guys like Thierry Henry that should have won because of the Messi Ronaldo domination over the past.
Yeah, he was prior, but yeah, plenty of like Schneider had a fantastic year, likes of Ribéry, Robben, all that been absolute. Neymar, another. Yeah, all missed out because there's like a huge list of people that could have won one, but Messi and Ronaldo existed.
Won one, and Harry Kane's one of those guys. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on Kane. I'll just give my opinion on this. I think this is good for football. And I guess my next question is, Alonso, we talked about it last week's podcast. Alonso's talked about staying in Leverkusen, which I really hoped he did, but nobody thought. That's another thing nobody saw coming, him not moving to a bigger club. If he is somehow able, and I can't help but wonder that the decision was based on talking to guys like Ritz and Ta and Sheck and those guys. If they're able to stay, and if Leverkusen is able to hold on to this team, which is doubtful, but Xabi Alonso staying was doubtful as well. Did they have a chance? I'm going to ask Green Man this because I already know your answer, but I'll get back to you, Nick. Did they have a chance of becoming a European superpower, kind of moving to the next level, sort of like Dortmund did when Klopp got there? If they're able to, pull a treble this year and maybe have a deep run in the Champions League next year, is this a potential new? It's not a very sexy city, but if they keep winning like this, they're able to keep this team together, they're able to keep this coaching staff together, and they keep winning. Could we see a Leverkusen enter the top clubs and a place where players want to go to rather than get away from to move to a bigger club? Green Man?
I guess it just depends. It's a broad question, and they're already a big team. Leverkusen have played in Champions League finals.
Sure.
They go to the one in Glasgow. Do you know what I mean? Where the Zinedine Zidane wonder goal away.
But it's not Barcelona. It's not Manchester United.
And they're never going to be that, though. They're never going to be that.
Wouldn't this be a chance, though? Wouldn't this be a chance to move into that echelon? No. Okay. But see, like from my perspective, and I don't have the background, you guys. From my perspective, I would like to see a new European superpower. I'm sick of the same old teams. I think if it keeps happening, you're begging for a Super League, which I don't want. I've changed my mind on that. If the same teams keep winning, and we're going to talk about something later that's happening in the championship with potential point deductions that kind of prove my point. But I think Xabi staying and taking these guys to Champions League. And if they're able to really, do something there, I mean, that's really going to rise the profile of everyone. It's fantastic. Of course,
No, I don't think it will. But I don't think you're saying all to be a super team, right? I don't think that's how it works. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you win a trophy and suddenly overnight millions of people across the world are going to start supporting it. It's a great thing for the city. The city will earn a lot of money. The club will earn a lot of money playing Champions League football, and I'm sure they'll grow about that. They'll be able to attract better players. They'll be able to. But the types of players that they can attract already. You're looking at Granit Xhaka, Alexander Romero, Jeremy Frimpong. These are players that are wanted by top teams already. If you're talking about them taking that extra step forward, then you're talking about them competing with teams like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City, Chelsea, PSG. They're not that. But they're one of the top teams in Europe. It's going to be able to attract top players like they already had.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want it, like, if they win, if they pull a treble and run deep in the Champions League, I don't think they're going to win the Champions League next year. I mean, I think it'd be ridiculous, but it'd be great if they did. But doesn't that attract players?
They already can attract players.
Yeah, isn't that going to attract good
players? They already can do that.
Yeah, they probably could do it this year.
They can already.
I wonder if they could.
Before this season, they had already. They signed Granit Xhaka from Arsenal.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's where I want to move it. And let me put this meme on, or actually this meme right here. Both Liverpool and Arsenal blew it, which gives United. That cat just completely blew my mind there. Arsenal. God, I didn't expect that to be there. That's very distracting.
We watched the cat actually just like the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, the cat is nuts. It looks like my cat too. It does seem to happen every year. Crystal Palace beating Liverpool 1-0, just shutting them down defensively. The announcer at one point said, "This is not their day. It's just one of those days where you weren't going to score goals." What's his name? Mo Salah had a point-blank goal that looked like a tap-in, and they were able to stuff him. And then Arsenal losing, which I actually didn't get to check out that game because I was watching Levrerkusen lift the championship. Is this the same story every year, Nick? Are we getting another? Am I going to win $50 because Man City wins the league, or will they recover and Man City could drop a game between now and then? Only 6 games left.
Well, we can only hope so, right?
I suppose.
I mean, it's not the same Manchester City team. I think that's something which has really gone under the radar with people. The fact that there even was a question prior to them falling in these last 2 games proves that this isn't the same Manchester City team we saw last year or the year before. They've got that stumble in them. They've lost games which they shouldn't have this season. They've drawn games that they shouldn't have this season, and previous City teams wouldn't have. So to think that everyone's acting as if the title's done now because City are just ahead now. There's still 6 games. I'm not sure if I'm 100% sure City win all 6 of those. So I think it certainly is still within the realm of possibility that one of Arsenal or Liverpool could still do this, but it does feel very damning. These 2 losses do feel kind of title deciding, with Christian Ball happening yet again for Liverpool, and Arsenal. They really struggled against Aston Villa. That when Watkins scored that second goal, that really felt like this title is over sort of moment for Arsenal.
Green Man, is the Klopp send-off going to be ruined, or will one of these 2 teams, either Arsenal or Liverpool, end up winning the league?
I don't fancy Liverpool to do it, if I'm being honest. I don't think Liverpool have got the talent they did a couple of years ago. I think they're running on empty fumes right now. I think they'll get Champions League football, and that's a great end play for Klopp to see it off. I think they won the League Cup, which they haven't won before. So he's won a trophy. I think they were expecting a bit more than that. If you're a Liverpool fan, let's be honest, but I think it'd be sad to see him go without winning anything big. I don't think it's over yet for Arsenal. And there's a single game. I don't know if you're able to get up Man City's fixtures There's one fixture I think could decide this title, and if it happens that way, it would be really funny. Man City play Tottenham in the second last game of the season.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine a scenario where Tottenham are desperate for Champions League football? Man City is bogey team, and that is the game that wins Arsenal the title.
Would be insane.
That could be it, guys. That would be it. I
But
think that could be it, man.
almost insane is the two the German leagues last year, 3-2 and 2-1, where we had two different. That would be almost on the same level of insanity, where you had two situations where a team had it wrapped up and they end up losing the title, or not getting promoted, or or going to a relegation playoff. I think that would be absolutely nuts. So basically, what you guys are saying, it feels like it's over because this happened so many times before. There are a few games left. Do you agree, man? Do you think City is not what they used to be? I mean, God, they are in the semifinals in the Champions League. I don't feel like they're that much different. I don't know if I agree with Nick on that, but do you feel the same way about City that Nick feels? The same way.
Like, Man City, if they were a professional fighter or a mid steroid cycle right now, okay? So at the start of the seasons, they flushed off the steroids, right? They cut away the fat, and like now they're a wee bit fat, but they're still getting out there and having fights and winning, right? Can you imagine what Man City are going to be like next season when they're back on the steroids? They're going to be unstoppable. So for me, that's what the scary thing is, man. Like, we're catching Man City off a steroid cycle, and they could still win everything. Like, they're going to be like when they get back on the steroids, man. Everybody's fucked.
Terrifying.
All right. Well, those are the really big stories. I kind of pull for Liverpool. I want to before Klopp comes to Wiesbaden. I like to. I don't know. I like him to be a happy guy. I'm sure. What do you think's more important, though? Is the league more important? Is the FA Cup more important? Is Champions League more important? In your opinion, like, well, I mean, Liverpool's in big trouble. We haven't even talked about the Atalanta loss, where they're down 3 goals in Champions League. I mean, what's more important to Klopp? What's a good send off for him?
Premier League. It has to be the Premier League.
Prem.
That is. Yeah, that's the end all.
Because for my American mind, it's just the Prem feels more like a regular season to me, and I know it doesn't work like this, but the Champions League feels more like a playoff championship. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want
Champions League. They're not in the Champions League. They're in the Europa League.
What? Oh, that's right. They're in Europa League. Yeah, that's right. The Europa
yeah.
League. Yeah.
100%.
That's right. Yeah. Then it would be okay. Then I answer. I forgot they were not in. They weren't in the. They weren't in the. So
I'd like
yeah.
to apologise for viewers for the sudden onset of dementia between these two.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old, guys. I'm getting really old. All right, let's pick up some smaller topics going forward. Xavi's leaving Barcelona. Rafa Marquez, former Metro star, Red Bull, said it was the worst decision of his life to play in America. He's going to be taking over at Barcelona. Green Man, how do you feel about that? I know he's doing Barcelona B. I can't imagine he's going to be good as Alonso, but is this a good move for them? I mean, he's a pretty young guy still. I don't know much about Rafa Marquez other than, a lot of people were really disappointed in him in New York. Is this the right move, or should they be going on the open market trying to bring in a bigger coach?
I don't know how good a coach he is, right? Barcelona have got this weird thing about the academy where they could just produce people who are suddenly fantastic, so I'm not going to say anything bad about him in case he's one of those people. However, if you just look at Barcelona, I think the only way to describe everything is fucked. And if you look at things like their team, man, I don't see how it works out. Because they've been told, I don't know if you know too much about it, but they've been told by La Liga they need to reduce their wage spending from something like £500 million a season to like £200 million a season. And because of the financial rules, so they're going to need to clear a lot of the team out. I don't see how they practically do that, right? It's not as if they can just like tell these players, okay, go to a different team. Now, like, they need to like find teams to sell these players to. So either they're going to be selling players for way under the value to get them under the books and these wages, or they keep the players in the books and they can't register them on the team. And it's a bigger even death spiral. So I think it's just such a badly run football club. If somebody like Xavi, right, is having to take a look at himself and say, shit, man, I need to leave. At Barcelona, you know, it's like Jesus deciding, Dad, I need to leave heaven. Right, I can't be out here. This isn't for me. Like, what do you mean? You're fucking Jesus. You're the guy here, Xavi. Right, you're Mr. Barcelona.
That begs the question, Nick.
He...
Is Barcelona going, because of these financial rules? I was somewhat aware. I don't know all the details that Barcelona's made some serious. They had a general manager in there that just ruined the team because he was a corporate mind, not a football mind. And I think that's the problem with a lot of teams in Germany, from Schalke's to the Hamburgs of the world. There's too much. It's my turn, and not enough football men. Are we about to see a sort of a Manchester United sort of slip for Barcelona, not being at the top of the table anymore, maybe 2 spots down? Is this the beginning that we're going to see, or they're going to be able to, you know, get the right people in the right spots and, you know, do what they can with 200 million instead of 5?
It's tough because I thought like a couple of years ago that was what the start was of that was going to happen with Barcelona, and then all of a sudden every single player on the planet wanted to join them, and they were pulling money out of like nothing and suddenly signing all these people and then won the title last year. So I just think Barcelona is too big of a brand, and they don't have the competition in La Liga like we do in the Premier League that I think. And because so many players keep wanting to go there, like Lewandowski in the summer, Rafinha chose Barcelona over Chelsea, Jules Koundé too. You know, there's all these players that every single time Barcelona seem to be in for them, they want to go there, they want to join, regardless of the fact that they've had all these money issues. There was talks of people like Frenkie de Jong being asked to take less money.
I remember that too. 2 summers ago when I was in Lanzarote, they were telling Frenkie de Jong to take less money, and he did, which I would never do. I would have told him to go back salt. I'll go to the Prem. Bye. You know.
Yeah, you had PK take less money, Jordi Alba. Most of the team, there was only like a couple like Umtiti that refused, and he's out the door already. So,
and Messi didn't even want to leave. Messi didn't want to go. You know,
I think a lot of people are confused.
What's that?
About well, I think lots of people are confused about Barcelona and what's actually going on there. So just to give you like a bit of insight, Barcelona actually do have a lot of money. So this is the thing. People think Barcelona are broke. They don't. They actually do have money. They're just not allowed to spend it because of the regulations, okay? So what they've been doing is they've been selling off the naming rights and the rights to everything to get cash short term to fund the building of
They'll be making their own jersey next year, too.
Stadium.
They're not going through Nike or Adidas or anybody. They're making their own jersey next year as well.
And a lot of the people in charge, they're just looking at short-term gain for the long-term future. So what they're doing is they're essentially selling profits for the future, like the rights to the profits for the future of the club. So that's how they've been asked to cut their budget from £421 million this season to £174 million next season, which brings them below Atletico Madrid's wage cap. So Atletico Madrid will actually have a higher wage cap than Barcelona for the first time. And I think the thing is, people don't realise how bad the mismanagement is there. That actually means like it's going to just keep getting worse. It's going to be a cyclical cycle where every year that wage cap's going to go down. The results in the pitch are going to get worse. They're going to have to sell off more rights, and it's going to keep getting worse. So I don't see how it ends. I don't see how it ends with, and that's what I'm saying. If someone like Xavi leaves, because Xavi would sit and manage Barcelona for free. It's not about money for Xavi. He loves Barcelona, but if he's needing to take a look at the situation, I need to walk away here, that should be a red flag to show you, man, this isn't going to end well.
Well, you know, I think we're going to get into it later. From what I understand, it's not 100%, but we're talking 80%. The more money you spend, the more you win. It does seem to be that way. If Barcelona can't spend as much money, unless they have incredible people on the ground, incredible trainers, it seems to me that they may slip a spot in La Liga or 2. I don't think that's completely out of the realm of possibility, but I hope I'm wrong, because I love it over there. I love Catalonia, and if I had to pick a Spanish team,
I give the numbers here, Tommy, about the difference between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So this year, Real Madrid had a wage cap of $787 million. Atletico had $303 million.
Ugh.
Barcelona had $204 million, and it's going to go down again.
It's probably going to go down again. I can't imagine them keeping this spot. Switching to the American side of things. Christian Pulisic is the first AC Milan midfielder to score 10+ non-penalty goals in Serie A since Kaká. Oh, that's some big name to be with next to. There's a big problem with this, and they got noted, which is too funny. Football fans are too funny. He really hasn't played the midfield. He's been a wing forward most of the season. I guess the question I have for you, because we had this conversation early in the season, because his stock when he got transferred from Chelsea, he is worth technically less than when Chelsea got him. So he went down. Is this a successful season for him? Forget the midfielder thing. Forget the noted thing. We talked about he had to have at least, and he looks like he's going to have at least 12 goals this year to really be worth it. I mean, he's very popular over there. The fans really have taken him in. I'm happy as an American that he's getting that kind of exposure, getting to play with Olivier Giroud. I think there's a lot of good things. I know this has been a bit of a disappointing season because they're not going to win the league, but they will get Champions League football. Is this a successful season for Captain America? Is this a good thing? Did the mission get accomplished, Green Man?
Yeah, I think it's like an okay season. I wouldn't say like he's like been like, peak Messi or peak Ronaldo. He's done there, and he's like got his career back in track. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
He's had good solid player. Next year in FIFA, if you see them 83 rated, you wouldn't be mad.
Okay. I'm going to switch to you. You lost him. You had a problem with them keeping him on the bench with Chelsea. We've had that conversation a million times. Is this a successful season for Christian Pulisic, in your opinion?
I think certainly so. To go from barely playing a minute at Chelsea to getting over 10 goals in a season at Milan, who are now second in Serie A, I think that's successful. Yeah, you're not expecting him to, get 20+ goals or something like that. I'd say if you said if Pulisic gets what he's got now before the start of the season, I think people would be like, yeah, that'll be a good season for him. So
yeah, I think he's reached. I think all three of us agree on this one. He's reached his goal. I think he's got his career back on track, as like Green Man said, and I'm happy with the amount of goals. And I hope he pops a few more. He did get cold a few times in the season, but so did Leao. Leao didn't have the killer season that we thought, but he's also starting to turn it around, and just in time for Olivier Giroud. Do we have any problems or issues with Giroud going to MLS? I know last year we talked about Messi going to MLS. It turned out to be a success. Not you were. I know you were. Some of you weren't happy about it. You were, Nick, but Green Man was kind of on the fence. Is it time for Giroud to make that exit to MLS? Is it a good time? Can he contribute? Can he put butts in the seats? Just out of my own interest.
Well, I would say my only concern is he might have not asked Gio Reyna's dad if he can go over there, and if he hasn't, but
okay.
No, in all seriousness, though, I think it's a great move for the MLS. The other way, Giroud's a great striker. He's one of them. I don't know if you know, he's one of the top French goal scorers in international football history. I think if you look at highlights of Olivier Giroud's best goals, man, you'd think he's the best football player ever.
Yeah, I know. If you just watch him, he's just he's just so amazing. And then he even went and had big saves earlier in the year. He is just such a legend. I hope he does go to MLS. I mean, MLS is potentially looking at Lewandowski and Giroud going over this year. I hope they don't make the same mistake that Henry did. They should at least wait till September to play. I know that doesn't help the team so much if they're in a playoff battle, if they're trying to get over the line or go for the supporter shield. But Henry said the biggest mistake he ever made was to go from Barcelona right to Red Bull. He was dying by the end of the season. Even Messi took a month or two off, and his Champions League run was over at that point, and then the French league ended. And he waited a month or two, and then, but I tell you what, after Leagues Cup, Messi kind of like, he was tired. What are you gonna do? The guy was exhausted. I hope both of those guys wait until they go to the next to MLS, if not skip the season completely. I think that would be the best, most healthiest thing for them to do. One more thing before we get into the Champions, not the Champions League, the Championship. Former Liverpool midfielder Naby Keita. How do you say his name?
Naby Keita.
Naby Keita faces consequence for refusing to play for Werder Bremen after being told he wouldn't start against Bayern Leverkusen in the championship game. So this guy was just like, oh, I'm not playing. Oh, fuck you. I'm going home. I mean, what do you think of that? Is this? I mean, this would be the end of a player in the States, from what I understand. Like that's unbelievable that a player could think he could do something like that. Where are you on this, Nick?
I think, this is the end of him at Werder Bremen. How can, I can't imagine how he must have wanted out anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because surely you're not thinking, oh, screw this, I'm going home, and then thinking, oh, damn, that's kind of screwed me or something like that. He's definitely thought, oh, do you know what? I don't care. I don't give a shit about this place. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So screw you guys. That's so dumb though.
Yeah, it's just a dumb thing, and it hurts your chances of getting picked up by another team too, because they're like, wait, I don't know, this guy could do that for us. Sort of like Rafa Marquez did to us on Red Bull. Green Man, any comments on this, if any?
Yeah, I think it's just stupid. He's just stupid, isn't he?
Arrogant. It's just like
yeah, like you're getting paid like 50 grand a week.
It's all you spit in the face of your teammates too. Like you're above it, and you're above getting your ass beat by Leverkusen. No, we're not. Get in the bench. Sorry to hear that.
You should be fined a week's wages and not paid.
So,
no, I hope so. I can't imagine. That's culturally in Germany, it's kind of a stereotype, but it's also true. You only get fired for two things in Germany: showing up late and kicking somebody's ass at work. And he decided not to show up at all and told them. So that's and that's 100% true. That's the only way you get fired in this country. You can be completely incompetent, but if you say, you know what, I ain't coming to work today, you're gone. Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen, Mr. Nabby. Last thing, you wanted to talk about it. Leicester failed to get promoted. They'll probably have a point deduction next season. They have to sell their best players this summer, possibly a transfer embargo, so they can't sign anybody. The embargo also means they can't renew contracts. This is a serious thing for Leicester, who had this, 10 years ago, they had that legendary run, right? Was Harry Kane on that team?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had that legendary run.
Not Kane, Jamie Vardy.
No, Vardy, that was it, yeah.
Like Kante, Mahrez, people like that.
This is huge. We were talking about it before. I'm not going to pretend to totally understand this, but one of the reasons they're getting deducted, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, you're only, and it does make sense on the surface, but it does protect the big teams. You're only allowed to spend a certain amount from your total net earnings, right? Which gives teams like Liverpool and even United huge advantage because they can always spend more money, whereas Leicester's a smaller club. And what they do is they cook the books to try to compete or get back in the Prem and what have you. It's really nuts. And I don't think these point deductions are helping. I think they're just hurting small football or smaller clubs along. Green Man, is there any solution to this problem? I understand the rules are the rules. They should be deducted and all that stuff, but it doesn't seem to be working. Everybody's going to cook their books if they can get away with it. And I don't see Chelsea or United or City getting punished either. Go ahead, Green Man.
I think it does work. How many teams in the Premier League have you seen go bankrupt over the last 20 years compared to the European continent?
Fair enough, but I mean, like, in order to be competitive with the other team, if you're going to be playing Liverpool, you got to be able to field the team as somewhat close. I mean, doesn't it handcuff them at the same time competitively?
Yeah, that's the downside of it. You can't have everything, can you? I think in terms of it, maybe there's scope to revisit it to do it, but in terms of protecting like these teams that are so important to the local community, why should some random owner be able to bankrupt an institution that's been there for hundreds of years that, like, let's be honest, is the lifeblood?
I got to be honest, you're making an argument for a Super League, whether you know it or not.
I'm making an argument for keeping teams like Everton and Newcastle and Leicester. All these teams should be ran financially responsible.
And you could also make the argument they should be in the Prem to begin with. Because they simply do not have the financial. They do not have the financial wherewithal to wherewithal is the wrong word, but they simply don't have the money coming in to compete with the bigger teams, or even stay in the Prem for that matter.
Well, there's 20 teams in the Premier League every season, right? Only 3 get relegated. It seems like most of the teams in the Premier League can afford to be there. It's not as if like they're struggling to buy players. Teams in England are cash rich right now.
Why do you see so many
Yeah, I
teams
don't
breaking
think
the
there's
rules? And why do you see so many teams like Leicester, like Everton? Why are they all breaking the rules? Not, I mean, I think they'd rather play by the rules, don't you think?
because of COVID. Everything happened with
Well,
COVID.
I'm
The
sure that has.
revenue and
I'm
all
sure
those
that has a
sort of
lot to
things.
do with it.
That's what happened. That's what happened to Everton and Leicester. During COVID, their revenue models got messed up, and they spent more money than they could afford to. The Premier League probably wouldn't have cared, but because of the fans protesting the Super League and this new independent regulatory thing coming into play, the Premier League are clamping down on everything. So
Yeah, all right.
that's
Well,
when these things wouldn't have got checked 5 or 6 years ago. They just wouldn't have like looked into it.
see, the thing is, Nick, the thing that I see that could help, but I think it would break all sorts of European and English labor laws, would be everybody gets a spending cap across the board. Not this like you can only because like you have brands like United. United doesn't win for the next 10 years. It doesn't matter because that badge is selling. Same thing with Bayern and a lot of other big clubs. They're always going to have more money coming in. Doesn't matter what they do on the field. To some extent, I mean, it'll affect it certainly, but not as much as it would affect a team like Leicester or Everton or something like that. Is there a solution to this problem? Is there any way to get, I guess, some sort of American-style antitrust to get these teams to be on close to the same playing field? I mean, if you look at MLS spending, it's pretty much even. Where you're seeing teams go, they can't go up and down, but I mean, you have a bad season, you could turn it around and win a league the next year. It's to me, it's a lot more exciting. I know that my pro-rel Americans will be throwing up right now, but that's kind of why I like MLS. It's a little different. Is there any solution to this problem, or I get where Green Man's coming from a certain perspective. He doesn't want to see these institutions get bankrupted by some greedy guy, but I also understand from the team's perspective, they want to compete, and you need money to compete. Is there? Where am I wrong
No,
here?
but Rance, Tommy, just before Nick answers, but the way you're meant to do that is you're meant to build up your team by buying players for undervalue, growing those players, and growing your team over years. So hypothetically, Leicester, if Leicester was ranked good enough, they could win the Premier League and win trophies consistently, get more revenue, and after they've built and deserve to spend as much money as the big
But
teams.
do you know
they
how
could do it.
realistic is that?
Has any club ever done that?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yes, Manchester United done it. Manchester
What,
United weren't the
60,
biggest team in
70
England when
years
Alex.
ago?
yeah, I mean, it's different. It's a
No,
different
they done it.
economy,
They done it in the
different
90s.
European economy. It's a different world, a different football.
It's not. It's
Oh
the same
God,
league.
it's not 1968. I mean,
It's not the same. It's not the same in the
No,
slightest.
Alex Ferguson built Manchester United into the crop at band they were. They weren't
it's
the
50
biggest.
years ago.
Chelsea done it. Let's look at it's not 50 years ago. It happened in the 1990s.
All right, 90s.
Right.
In the
Right,
90s.
but when Sir Alex Ferguson did that, was Manchester City owned by a Qatari, whatever he is?
Yeah.
No. Was Chelsea owned by a billionaire Russian? No. Were these teams making obscene amounts of money compared to the lower teams? No. It was a different landscape. You're saying Leicester have to build themselves up, but they're having to compete with state-owned clubs to do this. You look at the Rich Seven now with Newcastle joining that. The only teams that have managed in recent history to jump up there is Chelsea and Manchester City. And how did they do that? They got bought by billionaires that had way more money than everyone else in the league.
I'll never forget 10 years ago when City got bought out. We have a guy who lives here in Wiesbaden. We call him Man City Mike, right? And everybody, because he went to an Irish pub, and most of the people there are either Celtic or Liverpool fans or United fans, and they shook his hand. Like, yeah, you're going to be playing with us now. You're in the big boy club now. Congratulations. And I said, is it going to be that quick? And it was. They've been dominating ever since. It took like 2 seasons. And they were dominating. I mean, like, you can't discount the fact the amount of money you spent. I mean, except for Everton. The amount of money you spend is going to have, if you have competent people, is going to affect your place, whether you're getting European football or not, or being in the Premier League. I don't think we can totally.
But Man City and Chelsea did their own version of building themselves up, though. And if you're saying, well, the issue is we need to look at should these foreign investors be allowed to come in and buy English football teams? That's different from saying, do the set of rules keep the teams in place so that they can actually keep existing. And
Yeah.
I think that what you have just told me means it's even more important to have these rules where there's
Do you
restrictions.
want
where
50 plus one?
Chelsea, Man,
Do you want 50 plus
But-
one? Is that the solution?
There's no
50 plus
50, no,
in
it's
the
to
Prem?
keep it's making sure that no, like the financial fair play rules where they're based upon profit and sustainability.
Mhm.
That's like obviously what we're looking at here, and they didn't exist when Chelsea and Man City spent all that money, and that's why they needed to come into place, because it shouldn't be allowed that some random billionaire comes in and just spends as much money as he wants.
Is that the
Yeah,
solution or
but-
problem?
Look how bad the position it's left Chelsea in. Look how bad the
But-
position Roman Abramovich has left Chelsea.
What, they got bought by a mega rich owner and they were in the Champions League when he took over. Like,
Chelsea
they weren't in a
Chelsea
bad
got
position at
sanctioned
all.
by the Chelsea got sanctioned by the British government because they were linked to a Russian oligarch who was using your club to money launder, and never stopped existing. You couldn't have fans in your stadium. You weren't allowed to sell shirts. You've got, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a great position to be left in. Like, and I'm not saying that Chelsea fans don't do anything wrong, obviously, with that, but like, I don't know. It just seems like why
But
should
that was
these, like,
political.
random
That
owners
was
come in?
because he was Russian.
Yeah.
But also, just to touch back on the sustainability stuff, Nottingham Forest aren't financially in trouble. You know, Nottingham Forest aren't facing liquidation, but they're getting point deductions for spending to stay in the Premier League because they've spent loads of money, but they're not a big enough club to earn enough. But they're not in trouble of going liquidated.
Yeah.
Leicester aren't in trouble financially. They spent a lot of money when they won the league to try and stay at the top and compete with the big teams. They didn't
That's not
achieve that.
healthy. That's not healthy.
They're not in trouble financially, but they're facing point deductions for spending loads of money to try and stay at the
Let
top.
me ask you something. Are they when they overspend and they're breaking the rules? Are they saying, "Hey, we're going to get a point deduction, but it's worth it because we're going to get to stay in the Prem"? Are they? You don't want
Because
that.
what's happened was before you wouldn't get a point deduction. That the point they've only started enforcing the point deduction since after the Super League stuff. They would have just gave you like a 10 million, 20 million pound fine. That's what would have happened before.
It's insane to me. All right, let's just let's start to wrap it up here. Celtic, Ross County, Rangers lost. Kind of funny. Are Celtic going to pull? Because it was looking like the Scottish League was going to be exciting for a second. Is it done? Be honest, Green Man. Can you give us an unbiased take about Celtic winning the league?
It's not done. It's not done. You need to just take it as it comes.
Mm.
Celtic could still fuck up as well. That wouldn't surprise me.
Okay. When's the split
think
happen?
it's-
Split's got to be soon, right?
Yeah, it's happening the next set of games. What I would say, Rangers need to play their game on Wednesday night. What I would say, however, is ha 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 ha.
Thank you, everybody, for being a part of Glory Hunters. Hope you enjoy our podcast. I actually kind of want to put two out. I want to put one on Monday, maybe one before Saturday in the future too. Maybe a stream on Saturday. We'll see if we can do something like that in the future. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Green Man. Thank you, Nick, and we'll see you real soon. Make sure you join the Discord. Join the Discord, hang out, watch the games, watch the watch-alongs, the whole nine. We're building something. We're also looking for content creators to do sort of rants on their own team, which I'm really close to doing. And we'll be doing a very special thing. Me and Nick and Green Man will be doing some of the top teams that are playing in the Europe. So we're in the Euro. So we're going all summer, and we'll see you there real soon. Thank you very much, and have a great one. Bye.